So I'm very pleased. I mean, I've known Joao for some time now, and what I really enjoy, and I've also been to the forum physically, and then, as you know, I participated virtually this year. What I really am very interested in is South-South cooperation and learning. And I think that in particular, there's very interesting two-way learning between Brazil and many parts of Africa. Not all of Africa necessarily, although why not from an innovation perspective? But on many levels, even if you look at the topography or the agriculture, it's very similar. And what I always say is, if you think about Pangea, which is what used to be one big continent, actually West Africa, well, and kind of that whole part of Africa and Brazil touched. So it's not surprising that there are many things, many commonalities, even just in terms of the physical kind of structures. Also in terms of, sort of trajectories, Brazil has done so much recently, over recent decades in terms of development. I'm not saying that there aren't still many improvements that need to be achieved, and I think this is true across most of the world. But there are many things that Africa, I think, can learn from. And, both the good and the challenges, right? What are some of the challenges? If you look again at, responsible agriculture, just as an example, Brazil's made some mistakes. And it has corrected them in many cases. So then how can Africa learn from that so not to make the same mistakes, and then to do many of the very good things that are being done that have ushered in really a green revolution, just as one example. But I think it's true across, many different sectors. Brazil has become very innovative in Latin America, and there's many parts of Africa that are extremely innovative. And so how can they learn from each other and also cooperate? And, I'd also really stress the fact that it's not all about one way. It's not all about Brazil teaching Africans, right? Although I much like the South-South learning, but it's also very much about Africa having some great ideas, great new technologies, whether it's in the banking sector or in mobile, or e-wallets or whatever, that these are areas that are interesting, not just for Brazil, but for many parts of the world. But if you can improve the way that the cooperation is happening, you can do even more, I'd say, in terms of boosting both of their development trajectories in a sustainable way.
Sure. Did you have the chance also to take part, as you mentioned, in the Brazil-Africa Forum? So it was a very nice moment because it was different. It was the first time also for the Institute carrying out debate discussions like that virtually. And it was really interesting to dig in this theme of transfer technology, how to boost cooperation. So this new relationship, being a member of the board now, can gain some a new strength to move on.
Yes, exactly. I mean, look, if you look at the different people who are joining, you have people who are more in the private sector, people more in public sector, and more academic, or in development finance. And I think, having these multiple perspectives that you bring into the discussion is very important for not becoming siloed and missing important aspects that could be very important for development. So that's one area. If I look at myself, I'm very interested just in development in general. I find it completely unacceptable that the future is here and yet so unevenly distributed. The fact that we have the technologies for great prosperity and that they don't get everywhere, and that some people live the way that you kind of imagined in futuristic novels back in the 20th century, and other people are still living in many cases in pre-industrial, or even worse than pre-industrial times, because at least there used to be a lot more space, there was less pollution, less garbage. And so this is an unacceptable state of affairs as far as I'm concerned. So everything that I do is about, harnessing the great ingenuity of people, and also all of the great ideas that we have around the world, to, leapfrog, jumpstart, development in different parts of the world, but making sure that it is done in a way that doesn't destroy the planet. And I think this is something that really does unify Africa and Brazil. Look at the fires in the Amazon, for example. We see climate change every day, the sorts of things that are happening. And so if I then go back to my own, sort of what I'm doing, I do a sort of a portfolio of things. And I work on, climate risk, insurance issues, also on another board. I've just joined the Syngenta Foundation for Sustainable Agriculture. So again, really looking at how, for me, it's very interesting to see how all of these different institutions can work together, because I think there's a lot of good work going on. Often, unfortunately, people step on each other's toes or they just don't coordinate enough. And you can have so much more impact if everybody's moving in the same direction with one kind of idea of where we could go, and at least to a certain extent an agreement, and also very much integrating the perspective of the countries themselves and the people themselves, because I think often we forget about that in the development world. And so, for me, I'm really keen to have also this possibility to regularly discuss with people who also see this strength, this possible, this potential, and both to bring in my own perspective, but also to learn a lot about the latest things that are happening, so that I can integrate it into the other work that I'm doing and make my own applications better.